Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for tuning in, really appreciate it. Shout out to all the subscribers. As always, gratitude to anybody new. Welcome along, thank you. Let's talk about Jai Opetaia. It's been a while since I made a video about him, apologies for my delay on that, but he has obviously been talked into the mix about fighting Olexsandr Usyk.
I know a goal of yours is to go to heavyweight. You're giving me a little smirk. Like, is that like a dream scenario for you to fight one of those two guys?
I would love to fight Usyk, respectfully.
Usyk just coming off a fantastic win over Vergil Dubois for the second time. And he's looking to fight, I think he said one more time, so Opetaia's name's been thrown into the mix. He's said before that he would love to fight Usyk. I'm sure he studies him, I'm sure he looks up to him highly. So in this video we're going to talk about the particulars about that fight.
I would love to fight Usyk, respectfully. Boxing. I've always been so close to him, you know what I mean? Like I was 16 years old. I qualified for the Olympics. I competed at 17, little kid, and he won that Olympic Games. Like I've always been there, you know what I mean? I've always just been. It wasn't my time yet, but I feel like my time's coming.
So that Land Down Under song, I've been practicing for so long I was going to bring that in if Tim Tszyu beat Fondora, but that didn't happen. So I was like, I always try to bring in, some artistic elements to this channel with some scientific, breakdowns on punches and stuff like that. And, always try to give respect to, the fighter and the culture, where they're from and stuff like that. So I figured I could use it for this. Bring in some Samoan slit drum, right, which is a Pate, which is native to Samoa.
And we're talking about, I'm learning about from Fahabai, the Samoan drum, known as the Pate.
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 Yeah.
And this is a traditional instrument, isn't it?
Yes.
In Samoa.
Okay. And
what is the wood?
the wood is the ifilele.
Ifilele.
Yeah.
Is that a local wood?
Yes, traditional. Just Samoa, you found the wood. That's why we call the paradise of the Pacific. You never find this kind of food in Tonga, Fiji, or any part of the Pacific. Tudalo!
You bow down.
Which means you bow down.
And use that as a percussion because it is a drum, right? So I was trying to fuse the two. So as I'm saying this, I haven't actually recorded the musical part yet. So hopefully it comes out okay, because in my head creatively, I have all these ideas, but sometimes they're not that realistic and they get like, a bit complicated. But essentially, that's what I'm trying to do with the channel. Anyway, enough about music. We'll talk a little bit about science a bit later. I'm going to talk about motor unit recruitment, which I find absolutely fascinating, which Opetaia actually, every fighter does it. It's how you summon, the muscle fibers basically, but you use your brain and your mind to do that. And what type of muscle fibers you are actually summoning requires more energy. Very complex stuff, very high level matrix stuff. But we're going to talk about Opetaia fighting Olexsandr Usyk, because obviously he's coming off Opetaia's coming off a great win.
Left hand gets through, an uppercut, and a straight left hand as well. Squayo on the inside here, body shots from Opetaia. On the inside he tries, body shot again from Opetaia.
Jai's going to stop.
There's a good shot. That is a good shot. Squayo.
I say great win. It wasn't a particularly formidable opponent. I didn't make a video about the actual fight. I did a video before but it wasn't really that compelling. I couldn't really find, you know, a theme to it the second time around, so I passed on it. You know, I was really busy as well, so sometimes it's got to make a bit more sense for the video for me to do it, you know. Anyway, he got a great knockout, knocked the guy's jaw, you know, broke his jaw, and this is what happens when, you know, guys fight Opetaia. And I said it in my last video, I was like, he puts guys out, and you know, he put the guy in hospital. And look, this is another testament to how great of a dude he is. I think he went to visit him in hospital as well.
It's bad, and it just shows the power that he does possess, you know. And he did go in. I think I saw something that he went to the hospital and sort of checked on him. And there's that side of boxing where whatever happens in the ring, but you also want to make sure that the opponent that you have had this fight with, and whatever's happened to him, you want to make sure they're okay.
I'm sure it's something, he's not the first boxer to do that, not the last, but it still shows a lot of testament to his character, you know what I mean? When you injure somebody like that in battle, and then you want to make sure that they're okay after, I respect to that. So one thing he was doing, you know, his right hook has been developed significantly, you know, countering it as well.
Defeated fighter.
There's a shot and a counter shot. Scored with the right hands.
Just straight left hand down the pipe and running in low like that soon. Yes.
He's always been a pretty decent counter puncher, but he's getting a lot cleaner, at least from my perspective. His footwork's getting a little tighter and sharper, going backwards, and the technique is like getting just formidable, going backwards or forwards. And you know, talking about how the Usyk fight would go, let's talk about that, because that is, I was just thinking like when the last time either of these guys actually fought a southpaw, and I had to look quite far down the list. And Usyk was something like roughly the same year, like maybe 2016, 17, they both fought a southpaw, unless I missed somebody on there, you can fill me in. But Opetaia fought, I think it was a Samoan guy, I'll pull up the box rec, and then Usyk fought this African guy. That's it, at least from what I saw. If you're going to include Derek Chisora in there, because he went southpaw a few times, which ironically is actually what gave him a bit of success, because he was stepping into the motion and then jabbing with his lead hand. Caught Usyk off guard a little bit. And in fact, if you're going to beat Usyk, you've got to do a lot of stuff, really, because I mean, we're talking about an all-time great here. That's just like, I actually just watched the Dubois 2 fight again from a different angle. It's actually pretty interesting. The camera angles from the side, it's just the cameraman with one shot. And to be honest, he could have done a little bit better with moving it. But it was interesting to see. There's no commentary. I'll leave the link below. And you know, that was interesting to see. But Usyk was just 1, 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of Dubois. You know, he didn't really do as much jabbing underneath or over the top or committed with his jab as much. Usyk, he was just waiting for Dubois to come in with that big right hand. And if you look, he did it 2 or 3 times successfully, where he was baiting him in a little bit, right? And then Dubois would load up with his face like this, like, and just, you could see. And Usyk, being a master, he just either step back or pull back like that. Right hand comes here, and he just came over the top with the left hand several times. That to me looked like part of the game plan. Just wait for that right hand. You know, you got the jab under control, you got the feet under control with his range control, and you know, his movement as well. And I thought he was figuring them out so easily. I actually made a prediction. I thought he'd go 12, but I thought he would deal with him relatively, I don't know if I said easily, but I thought it would be just as easy, or if not easier than the first. I think I said that. I wasn't really giving Dubois much of a chance, because just the IQ, and when you fight somebody for the first time and you're the superior boxer and you are as meticulous as Usyk is, which he is, you know, ultra meticulous, you're gonna know what to do and what, like, you know, refine the game plan. He didn't really get that close to him for the body shots to let go. He never really got Dubois let him, you know, get those combinations off without moving back. So Usyk was always on the move and always like just out of range. Beautiful. Yeah, he got caught with a few little snappy right hands here and there, but I didn't think he ever really even barely got out of gear too by the looks of it, you know. And then those counters, right, this is where Opetaia can come in, where he might have a chance, because one thing you can, well, you've got to bulldoze Usyk. Chisora had a little bit of a blueprint there for a few rounds, you know, but you've got to be big and strong, you know, really very courageous, which Jai is, but he's not a heavyweight at the moment. So to ask him to go up to fight an all-time great heavyweight for your first heavyweight fight is a lot. So that's a ridiculous ask, really, if you think about it. It's probably a win-win situation for him because of the experience he's going to get. He's not going to be expected to win, and he could probably do quite well because of his foot speed, his hand speed, his athleticism, his raw talent, his counter-punching ability, which I'll talk about as a possibility on how he could probably have some success with Usyk, is to counter Usyk's counter, right? So if you're coming in and you do what Dubois is, he's just looking for one big shot, right? But you just try and bait Usyk into the shot so he counters and then you counter that. I mean, he could have some success with that, especially with that right hook, you know. Pretend to come in with that stuttery, ballerina-like footwork, right? Some feints as well. Draw Usyk in, let him release that left hand, and then you counter his counter. Or you throw a shot, he counters, you counter. Complex stuff, but I think it could be done in moments. You'd have to, you know, don't try to box with him, you know, like I think that's just, and the lead hand stuff, you know, I think Opetaia's lead hand is getting a lot better, but Usyk's lead hand is one of the best in the game. You know, his lead hand is like really the foundation for his offense and his defense, and just mesmerizing you and just draining you. That's another thing too, is mentally, I'm not sure if Opetaia is going to be able to deal with that in the long run, you know, down the stretch where your brain power just starts to diminish because Usyk's just used to fighting like that, and that's how he fights. He just zaps people's energy. It's a good fight, but would I like to see it next? Probably not. I would ideally, you know, Vergil Hunter always used to talk about how you need to condition yourself moving up in weight.
If Andre Ward does go to light heavyweight, you know, it'll be done the right way. You know, it'll be done the right way. And they can plan the date of that fight all they want to, but that fight will happen when he and I say it happens.
And Andre Ward did that. When he went up to light heavyweight, he had 2 fights before he fought Kovalev. Alexander Brand and, what's the guy's name? Sullivan Barrera, right? 2 good tune-up fights. Little, you know, Brown was whatever, but Barrera's a, you know, all right fighter. And then Kovalev, but it's like acclimating your body to that size. And
going back to Olexsandr Usyk for Jai Opetaia, I think it's a fight that absolutely makes sense. You know, possibly Jai needs to have a fight, you know, before the end of the year at heavyweight if he is to go up, and then possibly early next year he could do the Usyk fight. But that's a fight that Jai would love to have.
You know, obviously you're getting the sparring and being conditioned, and you know, all these other nuances that I don't really know about scientifically, how you need to fit into the heavyweight division and going straight up there. I know Opetaia does come down a decent chunk, I think he said, to make weight for cruiserweight, because he's quite a solid guy, you know. And so I'll be curious to wonder how much he walks around at. Probably maybe like I'd probably say between 210 and 220. I would guess. So he probably wouldn't be that much smaller than Usyk, even if he, you know, I don't know. Maybe they might be similar in height and size and stature and everything. It'd be very quite evenly matched if Opetaia were, you know, granted one tune-up fight, I guess. But we're just hypothetically talking, you know, it'd be a tremendous fight if it were to happen. But the reason why I'm actually making this video as well is because, like, there's nobody really to fight. You know, Ramirez fight looks like it's off the table.
He's 28 now. You know, there's no other fights really in the cruiserweight division except Ramirez. The Ramirez fight is, you know, starting to become a bit of a stretch. We hope we get it across the line. We're focused on that, but if we don't get that fight, you know, Jai probably has no option but to move up.
And you know, who else is there? Badu Jack. He wants the belts, really. He wants the WBO. He wants the unification. But in reality, Ramirez being out, you do wonder. You know, if I don't know if Ramirez is like, I don't know what happened with the injury. I'm not saying he's not injured, but if you're his team, I'm just thinking from how boxing teams might think. They might think, well, we've got to get Opetaia out of the picture because he's a major threat to our belts being gone. Do we just stall it and stall it and stall it? Say we want the fight, say we want the fight. And I'm not trying to discredit him by saying he's not injured, because if he's generally injured, then I hope he recovers well. Because it does look like Ramirez wants to fight. He said it several times now, and I do believe him. He's a tough guy. I'm wondering if his team, you know, are like, let's just phase it out so then Opetaia moves up. We can keep reigning, and then they'll be the undisputed. Because once you move up to heavyweight, it's very unlikely you're going to come back down. But you know, it's just a cynical thought that I have that our promoters do. You know, it's not something that I would do. I'm just saying how they shift around like this. You know, they're like, that's the threat. Let's just BS our way. The fighter can say they're going to fight, and then we'll just wait for Opetaia to move up, because let's be honest, he just breaks people's faces, as I said, and they just either derails their career dramatically or he just puts them out. And I'm just going to check my notes because I've got like a few things I want to talk about. I can't really even read my own writing. Anyway, that's probably it from me, to be honest with you. What, 14 minutes? Yeah. I've got quite a bit of editing to do, so you know, I just got back from a little trip, and I was just I'm a little bit behind. You know what I mean? Me and the missus both picked up a little cold, both at the same time, right when we got back. So I've been a little under the weather, and I've been just trying to get more content out for you guys. Do you know what I mean? And it's going to take a bit of editing, but yeah, I feel like, oh yeah, scientifically, I wanted to talk about multi-unit recruitment, which I touched on in the beginning, and I'll drop a couple of clips because, you know, this probably take me quite a long time to edit, but I wanted to express what it is because it's fascinating, right? It's basically when you're dealing with speed or explosive power specifically. This isn't just boxing, this is like when you're running or if you're lifting weight, right? You have to develop like a certain mental ability to be like, I have to lift this up, and I'm going to lift this up as hard as I can, and I'm going to put all my mental power into it.
You can see here the brain is going to send a signal through a nerve, so usually through the spinal cord, and then through a nerve to a muscle. Now, if you see here, guys, this muscle is representing multiple types of muscle fibers. So you can see the red muscle fibers and the green muscle fibers in there. They would make up the entire muscle.
And that's going to create me to summon certain muscle fibers, right? Which are different types of muscle fibers, and you have type 1, type 2, then type 2A. And to get to the type 2A, you have to go through type 1 and type 2.
If all the type 2As are recruited, we still need more force. Then we go to our type 2X fibers. They're the hardest to recruit, and they fatigue the most quickly.
And the type 2A require more energy from you, more mental energy, thus more fatigue is more likely to happen, right? So when you're dealing with somebody like Opetaia, who's the explosive puncher, that requires a bit more multi-unit recruitment. I'm going to bring in a bit more theories and videos and stuff like this as I search a bit deeper. I wanted to talk about some other stuff in science, but you know, to be honest with you, I've made such a big list. I was like, oh, maybe it's a bit too much. Do you know what I mean? But I haven't seen you guys for a minute. The Opetaia fans, shout out to you, shout out to the Samoan, shout out to the Australian, shout out to anybody that's watched this channel or supports this channel. Respect. As I said, the videos I'm going to be making are going to be very music orientated. I'm going to try to find a way in musically, artistically, and do my very best to make it as interesting as possible. You know, from the heart. If you like the video, smash the like button. If you really liked it and you want, you know, to see more content, I would say subscribe. I might be the only channel that says, wait, don't subscribe. Subscribe, but just understand what you're getting yourself into, because it's not just a normal boxing channel. I'm not going to be able to do, you know, a lot of people, I think, subscribe because they think it's cool and then they unsubscribe straight away. Because they're like, what is this channel? It's a bit weird. It's a bit of a crazy channel. I'm an artist, you know, and I make art. So I'm trying to fuse it all together, but I hope it makes sense. Anyway, that's it from me. Peace. Have a peaceful week. See you later.
Boxing.
Knowledge.